Meetups because they want to speak with other people that speak their language and have a taste of their own culture, their home culture. Well, you can also try going to those and seeing if you can mix with them and speak their own language with them. You'll find a wide variety of accents because they've normally come from all over the world. You can also use italki's language partner feature. I've spoken about this quite a lot. This is a free feature where you can find a language partner to practice with. Hi everyone, welcome back to English with Lucy. I've got a short little video for you today. It's been highly requested. It's all about British slang. So today I'm going to talk to you about 5 slang words and phrases that we use here in England. The first slang word is the tube. And any of you that have visited London will know this quite well. The tube, for us, is the underground. But we would never call it a metro or the underground. We normally call it the tube. And that's because it's in the shape of a tube. So if you visit London, make sure you ask for the nearest tube station. Goal. I don't speak English perfectly. I make mistakes all the time. I said growed in another video. So embarrassing. Comment down below if you know which video that is because it was recent. Don't beat yourself up over making mistakes. Remain positive, learn from your mistakes, laugh at your mistakes, and celebrate speaking English fluently and speaking English without thinking over speaking English without making any mistakes. Tip number 10 is read a book completely aloud. Lots of people like to read books at home. It's their relaxation time. But if you're at home and in British English, we say a storm in a teacup. A storm in a teacup. In American English, they say a tempest in a teapot. A tempest in a teapot. That sounds much more posh. Teacup, teapot, much more tea. This means great outrage or excitement over a trivial matter. For example, I don't think the apocalypse is coming. I think it's a big old storm in a teacup. Number 13. In British English, we say a drop in the ocean, a drop in the ocean, and in American English, they say a drop in the bucket. That you can really learn English with lots of enthusiasm. Now, I've got an Instagram account and I like to chat with my students on there. And this morning I posted a video asking my current students what made them feel more confident when speaking English. And I got lots of replies, and at the end of the video I'm going to show some of those replies to you and see if you can relate with them, see if you disagree or agree. I think it's really important to get opinions and information from people who are learning English right now. They are just like you, they're in the same situation. So a little bit I have with English. One of the big ones, in my opinion, is word order. You can't just translate sentences literally because we really change things around. Yeah. So one sentence in Spanish, you can't directly translate it into English. We're not going to understand you, or we're going to have a tough time understanding you. Yeah. That's a big one. Also, they really struggle with phrasal verbs.
And I think the confusing thing in English is some phrasal verbs have multiple meanings as well. So
yes. And some can be separable, others aren't. Yeah, it's really difficult. Yeah. Everything that isn't English, lifestyle, etc. I will see you soon for another lesson. Mwah. Special discount for English with Lucy. One of my favourite words, multitasking. I always talk about multitasking because multitasking has changed my life. I was never productive. I never got anything done. I would always prioritise my leisure time over my work. And once I learnt to multitask, I realised that I could have leisure time and do the things I was obliged to do at the same time. And you can do this too. I want you to learn to multitask effectively and use that to improve your English. So, think of the mundane tasks that you English is not a phonetic language, and we don't always follow our own pronunciation rules. So what research can you do? Well, you can look at homophones, for example. These are words which have the exact same pronunciation, but different spellings and different meanings. I've actually got a video coming out on homophones very soon, which I will put in the description box. An example of a homophone would be bear and bear. The same, but different spelling and meaning. You can also look at minimal pairs. Minimal pairs are words that have the exact same pronunciation. You will still treat it in spoken English as if you had that S there. So you will still say, Jess's dog is called Mabel, and the actress's role was difficult, even though the S is not there. Complicated. So what about plural nouns? Well, regular plural nouns usually end in S. And for these, to show possession, you just need to add an apostrophe to the end of them. For example, my grandparents' house is cosy. Or, my friend's party was amazing. Now, is that you can use in everyday English conversation. As always, we will be focusing on the British English pronunciation, but these are phrases that can be used anywhere. If you speak a different dialect of English, I encourage you to write in the comments below what you would say differently. It's really interesting and helpful for everybody else. This video is really going to help you sound more like a native speaker because you can copy exactly what I say, and the way my voice goes up and down and the way I join my words. I am reading these sentences London time on my Facebook page, English with Lucy. Don't forget to connect with me on all of my social media, which is all here in front of my face, and I'll see you for another English lesson very, very soon. Mwah! Than the English ones. The British English sense of humour tends to be darker, more subtle. We tend to say things with a straight face, but as a huge generalisation, American comedy TV shows seem to be more in your face. The jokes are more obvious and you can follow the plot more easily. A couple of recommendations for you are, of course, Friends. Friends can be enjoyed in any language, and chances are you've seen Friends in your language, so you'll understand more or less what's going on in English as well. If you alternatives to sorry for my English, or you can say if you think sorry for my English is fine. I look forward to seeing what you have to say. Now, number 4, you guys always knew I was going to mention this one. It is practice, but I want to say practice, but don't learn. You can tell when somebody has practiced a presentation or rehearsed a presentation, and you can also tell when they've learnt a presentation. The difference being that a practiced presentation is organic, it's genuine, it flows, and it's on how to say that you are angry or annoyed in English, you can check out the video up here. You can also lose the plot or lose your mind as well, which means that you've gone crazy. You know, have you lost your mind? Are you crazy? I've completely lost the plot. I'm just being so silly. You can lose sleep over something, which means you worry about something. If I say don't lose sleep over it, it means don't worry about it. You can lose heart, which means you lose enthusiasm, and you can lose your voice, which news, and you can just watch the headlines, which would be British English pronunciation. So I want you to watch it first with no subtitles, see how much you can understand. And then I want you to watch it again with subtitles and see what you did pick up and what you didn't pick up, and then note it for next time. Don't be afraid to replay things again and again and again. Learn the patterns of voice that we use. If you've got a listening exam, or you're going to have a telephone conversation or some sort of interview over the phone, you're not going to be able to read the person's lips, which can be really. In British English, we say a drop in the ocean, a drop in the ocean, and in American English, they say a drop in the bucket, a drop in the bucket. It means a very small or insignificant amount compared to the amount needed. For example, I saved 33 pence by doing my shopping online, which is a drop in the ocean compared to what I need to save for a house deposit. That's what I'm trying to save for at the moment, and it's not easy. Number 14. This is a personal favourite. I just really like it, and I actually love the American version. But saying it because English isn't a strictly phonetic language. How a word is spelt or written might not give you any indication as to how it's pronounced. If you listen to a word as you read it, your brain will start to make connections, and the next time you read that word, you'll know how it's pronounced, and the next time you hear that word, you'll know how it's spelt, how it's written. It is such an effective method, and the best part is you can get a free audiobook. That's a 30-day free trial on Audible. Just click on the link in the description box and sign up, and then you can download one of my recommendations. Give it a try. Phrase, but hoover is very common in British English, and this is because for many years Hoover, which is a brand of vacuum cleaner, basically dominated the market. So we just said we were going to hoover something instead of to vacuum something. Now, even if our vacuum cleaner is made by a different brand, we are still inclined to call it a hoover. An example: when my mother hoovers the carpets, she likes to leave visible vacuum cleaner marks so that everybody can notice the effort that so it doesn't just have to be English. Let's get started with the lesson. Number 1, my first idea is try following chefs or recipes in the language that you're trying to learn. Now, when you learn a new language, it's really good to learn about their culture. It will help you a lot, and you can learn so much through their cuisine and their diet and their eating habits. Maybe you can have a week of dinners from the culture of the language that you're trying to learn. You could get together with friends who are also learning that language and choose to only speak that language in no time. The really great thing is that you're doing something productive and maybe learning about another topic through English that you wouldn't normally do. So it's really a win-win situation. My next tip is do not translate. Do not translate. When you're speaking to someone in person, I want you to listen for context. Something I always say to my students is fluency over accuracy. Now, I speak Spanish fluently, but I do not speak it 100% accurately. I have no problems with listening. I have no problems with understanding. Now, this is said in all English-speaking countries, but especially in Britain, because we do have a habit of not being honest. The example I gave before of how I didn't tell the woman that she shouldn't have worn white, well, that's pretty common behaviour. We don't necessarily say things. We like to avoid confrontation. So for us, if we are going to confront someone, it's a big deal and we need to prepare them. I'm going to be honest with you. That brings me on to my next one. Number 3. Let's be frank. Let's be frank. To be frank is to be honest and direct. If somebody is a YouTubers. Now, I'm not talking about us lovely bunch of online English teachers that are all over YouTube at the moment, although I think we could help you a little bit with your listening. You have an amazing resource full of free videos and listening tools. Find something that you're interested in. Maybe you're interested in gossip, celebrities, science, current affairs. Search for it in English and start listening to it. My next point is multitask. Unlike reading or watching TV, Listening is something that you can do whilst ask me how you can find out your English level. Basu offers a really comprehensive free level placement test. You can test yourself right now for free by clicking on the link in the description box and signing up. It's a really good test and I did it myself and I got a very high score. Thank the Lord. So yes, click the link, take the test and share your test results in the comment section. It will be so interesting to see which level you are all at. Now, let's get back to chunking. How can Basu help? Well, each lesson has a time indicator, so you can work out how. In British English, we would say swings and roundabouts, swings and roundabouts. In American English, they would simply say ups and downs, ups and downs. These idioms are used to describe situations where there are as many gains as there are losses. For example, in the UK, we pay high taxes, but it's all swings and roundabouts because we have a great national health service. Number 10, another one where I might actually say the American one, because the Americanisms have bled into Britain. But the British idiom is skeletons in the cupboard. Online language school where students can study English, Business English, Spanish, French and German. You can take classes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in their virtual classrooms from anywhere in the world with native qualified teachers. Prices start from just €8 per group class and you can choose from over 1,000 classes as part of a structured curriculum and work towards gaining a CEFR recognised certificate. You can use this certificate on job applications, university applications, on your CV. It can be very useful to have. The group classes are an excellent. If you want to transform your English speaking skills and your confidence quickly, click on the link in the description box and use my code SPRINT4 for €10 off your deposit. Best of luck with the sprint. Right, let's get started with the vocabulary lesson. Please note that lots of these verbs have multiple meanings. I'm focusing on one meaning per verb and I'm using them in a more advanced context. Number 1 is to alter. To alter. This means to make somebody or something different. In American English, they would say to rant and rave about something. To rant and rave about something. This means to talk about something for a long time, especially in a way that is boring to others. For example, I know I bang on about Skillshare, but it really is a fantastic service. Number 16. In British English, it's to call a spade a spade. To call a spade a spade. In American English, to call it as one sees it. To call it as one sees it. This simply means to speak honestly and describe something as it really is. For example, my mother calls a spade. You can learn English and 11 other languages, ranging from the levels A1 to B2. That covers quite a lot of you. This is the part that will interest many of you because so many of you ask me how you can find out your English level. Basu offers a really comprehensive free level placement test. You can test yourself right now for free by clicking on the link in the description box and signing up. It's a really good test and I did it myself and I got a very high score. Thank the Lord. So yes, click the link, take the test and share. I have a good command of English. Really nice one to use. Now number 10 is slightly more old-fashioned, but you can use it in quite formal situations. And this is to have a good mind to do something. To have a good mind to do something. It's ever so slightly threatening and it means to be tempted to do something. So, for example, if I heard that somebody was gossiping behind my back, I might say, I have a good mind to confront them. As in, I am tempted to confront them. It doesn't mean that I'm going to do it, but it means that the temptation is there. Wants to take an English class with a native qualified teacher every day for 3 months. And the fact that you can get your money back as an extra motivational incentive is the icing on the cake. Alternatively, if you don't think that the marathon's for you, you can check out Lingoda's other flexible subscription packages. Good luck to everyone who chooses to participate in the marathon. Number 3. This might surprise some people, but I am a massive fan of Reddit, and I think it's a fantastic language learning tool, especially if you want to learn English. Reddit is to learn, probably English, but there are lots of subreddits in other languages as well. There are subreddits for sport, cooking, politics, debating, creative writing, everything. I recommend that you visit Reddit once a day and make a post or make a comment every single day and start to interact with other native people. I warn you, it's addictive and you will probably fall in love with Reddit like I have and like Will has. Number 4 is eat in authentic restaurants, but there's a special way of doing this if you're trying to learn a language. You need to warn the staff that you would like to do everything in that language. The marathon for English and German. Normally you have to sign up on a subscription basis, meaning that what you pay for is what you get. But every now and again, I think they lasted one at the beginning of the year, which I helped promote as well, which went really, really well. They do a language marathon. Now, you know that I don't promote cramming and learning languages really, really quickly. The best way you can possibly learn a language is by doing it little and often. And one English class a day, every single day, to me seems like the absolute best way to learn English. Aside from Number 18. In British English, to get itchy feet. To get itchy feet. In American English, they say to seek new pastures. To seek new pastures. This means to start to want to travel or to do something different with your life. For example, after 14 years of schooling, I got itchy feet and started to plan my move to Spain. Number 19. In British English, we say to go pear-shaped. To go pear-shaped. In American English, they say to go south. To go south. This means to go wrong or to go badly. Your English listening practice. So, beginners and even early intermediate, because remember that listening is often found to be the hardest skill of all 4 skills that they tend to test in exams: listening, speaking, reading and writing. I always see with my students they get the highest scores in reading and writing, and it's listening and speaking where they start to suffer, and listening tends to be the worst. Oh my God.
Hello and welcome to English with Lucy.
Shut up. Oh my God. Sorry about that. I got this. For anyone who wants to take their telephone English a bit further, Caroline has got an audio course all about having confidence while speaking on the telephone, and it's absolutely free. So if you're interested in that, then there is the link in the description box and you can check that out. Well, Caroline, it was a pleasure to have you on today. Thank you so much. I feel like I've learnt loads. I hope you guys have learnt a lot as well. If you're interested in hearing more from Caroline, then all of her information and social media is in the description box. And you can also go and look at her TED Talk, which has 3 million views now. Amazing. And more comfortable speaking English. My first tip is to get to know the parts of your body that you use whilst speaking English. This might sound a little odd, but trust me on this one. If you don't understand which parts of your face, tongue and throat are used when speaking English, then how will you ever be able to correct your pronunciation mistakes? Watch yourself in the mirror whilst speaking English is a common tip that many teachers give. However, I think you should go but in American English, they say to wait in line, to wait in line. It simply means to take one's place in a queue. For example, as a Brit, I can honestly say there is nothing I enjoy more than queuing up and silently judging those who try to break the queue rules. Oh, I love it and hate it at the same time. Anyway, moving on. That's it for today's lesson. Don't forget to check out Skillshare. Remember, the first 500 people get their first 2 months free. Just click on the link in the description. And don't forget to check out all of my social. Lucy Bella Earle, and I am a native qualified English teacher. I'm also a graduate of Westminster Business School, where I achieved a first-class degree in marketing communications. In January 2016, I started the English with Lucy YouTube channel, where I've helped tens of millions of students improve their English skills. Whether you like it or not, English is the global language of business, and many multinational companies use English as the common corporate language. This means that if you want to work in a top company, it's likely that you will need to be able to speak an appropriate level of English. In this 10-part course,
I ran a couple of English groups, and yes, then I started YouTube, and everything changed. Yes, it was a big decision.
It's a game changer for sure. So what is it that you really love about teaching?
I love that you can really make a difference and you can see it, and I like building people's confidence. So I know that after a 1 hour session with someone, I will be able to see a real marked difference in the quality of their language.
Yeah.
What about you? That's a good question.
Yeah. It's definitely, like, if I think
tip actually in English, identifying where you're lacking and then educating yourself. There are all the resources in the world on the internet. You can have private teachers, you can use grammar videos like the ones on ABBA English. You've got YouTube here. There are loads of fabulous native teachers here and just ready to explain things to you. If you have a question, it's highly likely that tens of thousands of people before you have also had the same question. The real question is finding the answer, and you should be able to find it because it will be there. Right guys, that's it for today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. You could learn strictly in English. You could learn to knit in English. You could play board games in English. As long as it's something consistent that you do on a daily or weekly basis in English, you're so much more likely to take it seriously because it's something that you genuinely enjoy. Tip number 3 is use an app or program on a daily basis to improve your English. So it's all very well attending a language course or a language school. What's helpful is doing a little bit every day. ABBA English got in contact with me a while ago and asked me to have a look at their product and services. And back to English with Lucy. Today I've got a vocabulary and pronunciation lesson for you. We're going to be talking about how to pronounce fruit, vegetables and nuts in English. In this video, I am going to show you 42 different fruits, vegetables and nuts with pictures and the pronunciation. It should help you improve both your vocabulary and your pronunciation. This video should be relevant for everyone when they're talking with an English learner. Obviously, if you're at a very high level, you of course want somebody to speak as naturally as possible, but there is nothing wrong with asking you if you're really struggling to understand. Now, my last tip number 4, this one is incredibly important because it's very easy to lose enthusiasm and to feel disappointed because you're not understanding as much as you think you should be able to. I get this comment all the time, okay? It is, Lucy, are you speaking really clearly? Because I can understand everything you're saying, but when I try in American English, they say to go south, to go south. This means to go wrong or to go bad. The party was great, but after they handed out tequila shots, it started to go a bit pear-shaped. Our final idiom of the lesson, and I've saved the best till last because this is what I love to do. In British English, we say to queue up, to queue up.
Wales, Scotland, English non-conformity, and a section of the English working class, into the anti-establishment coalition that was British liberalism.
Where you can learn English, Spanish, French, German and business English 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, from anywhere in the world as long as you have a stable internet connection. You learn with native, qualified teachers, and when you complete enough courses, you'll get a CEFR certificate, ranging from A1, beginners, to C2, which is very advanced. You'll follow a structured curriculum, but you can choose from over 1,000 classes, meaning that you can tailor your language classes to your profession and your hobbies. If you want to try before you buy, there is also the option English, and some people find it near impossible to think in English. If you want to be able to speak English fluently without even thinking, then you need to train yourself to think in English. A good way to start doing this is to have a little English narrator in your head. Choose someone's voice that you like. I know a lot of people use Emma Watson's voice. They have her speaking in her head. This is normally females. But for a couple of hours a day, or even a couple of minutes a day, have your little chosen person, Emma Watson or whoever it is, narrate in your head everything you're doing. I am washing the dishes. Day. You can join the marathon in English, French, German, Spanish and business English, and there are classes for every level, beginner to advanced. So how do you participate? You need to sign up to the marathon before the 9th of September. After registering for the marathon and paying your non-refundable entry fee, which is €40, this secures your spot in the marathon, you automatically sign up for the entry fee will be taken off your first month. I have a special discount code for you. You can get €10 off your entry